Namaste. Welcome to the online series of talks based on Sriaurobindo's profound vision. Art is the bridge between the human and the divine. I am Dr. Indira Malapaka, Program Director at SACAR. Very happy to take you all in this journey of exploring spirituality in Indian art, philosophy in Indian art, divinity in Indian art through the divine canvas of India. From ancient civilizations to the modern expressions, art in India has been deeply connected with spirituality, philosophy, and the ongoing quest for meaning. So now, during this talk, we'll try to understand various art forms, including architecture, sculpture, paintings, and the philosophical underpinnings that fuel the spiritual expression. India's artistic heritage is not just about aesthetics. It is a profound expression of the human spirit's craving for connection with something greater than itself. Craving something for greater than itself is always a mystery, always a puzzle, always a research in Indian art, literature, and all the other things, whereas people always tried to know, like the human spirit wanted to know the actual purpose of living and the actual meaning of their life and all these things throughout the ages. All our yogis and sages, they have done the same. So this artistic heritage of India is a vibrant dialogue between the seen and the unseen. Like in archaeology, we have this seen culture, like the material culture. When it comes to spirituality, it is not seen, the tangible and intangible cultures we are dealing with. So this exploration, now the exploration which we are going to do, will touch upon the diverse forms of this dialogue, revealing the interconnectedness of art, architecture, sculpture, philosophy, and spirituality. I would name them as Pancha tatwas in the Indian context. So before understanding how art acts as a bridge between the human and the divine, one should understand what is art. Art, in my opinion, art in your opinion, art on a personal level, art on a state level like national and region level, and all these levels are there. Yes, you have to understand art in various levels. For me, art is archaeology, art is iconography, art is epigraphy, art is museology. Everywhere, wherever I can see art is in the temple architecture, and any Indian form that is taking the human to the divinity is art to me. What is your definition of art on your personal level? So now, after knowing what is art in your own perception, in your own idea, you should understand how to appreciate art. Appreciating art is one beautiful aspect for which our ancestors worked for years to make a temple, like to build a temple, to make a sculpture, or to write an inscription, and to people take days and months and years to complete one painting. So all their time and emotions. But at the end, if you are not able to appreciate the art, it goes in vain. You have to appreciate the art. What is art appreciation? Appreciation of art differs from person to person. Now let us take a child below 10 to 12 years visiting a temple along with their parents or teachers in an excursion like to school tour and all. Is very much happy that he is going out of his school everyday routine, and he is visiting a new place and visiting a temple, or particularly because we are talking about temple architecture on a large this thing. So visiting a temple or any particular area that is displaying various art forms of India, anything not only pertain to India, then his happiness, the rasa in him, the ananda, the rasa in him is that he is away from the daily routine. He is not supposed to, like, he is away from the teachers, classes, homeworks and all these things, daily routine, but he is enjoying a new place in very different way, because there the art appreciation is completely nil, but he is attaining the Anand Rasa. He is enjoying the atmosphere, he is enjoying the vast area of the temple. He can play there, he can see what other all his fellow students are doing and all these things. So all these things are involved, which reciprocate, which gives him lots of Anandamaya. With this rejuvenation, he will go study and he'll be anticipating for the next trip from the school. So for a student, the art appreciation is limited. There is no art appreciation, but he is appreciating the effort taken by his teachers and the organization or the institution that he is visiting a new place in his life. So this is what filled with anxiety, but he is getting happiness at the end of the day. So that is again divinity in Ananda. Okay, so an engineer visiting a temple, immediately once stepping into the temple, or when immediately looking at a sculpture, particular sculpture, the engineer starts thinking about, and he'll be amazed of the engineering skills of our ancestors, how they have built this huge building, where we are also trying to do the same in these days. We are also constructing many buildings and many huge and large buildings, but the engineering structures that are lasting for thousands of years, so that makes an engineer to think about and appreciate our sculptors or architects, the sthapatis work, the people who are working in the background, in those years, in those centuries, the engineer will appreciate. So here the art appreciation is pertain to an engineer's heart. And then when a historian visits the temple, there are various aspects. He will cover the sculptures, he'll cover the inscriptions, he'll see, like, he'll be dating back the chronology, and he'll see that who is the king that had contributed for the construction of this particular temple and all these things. And when they are talking in the public, when they are delivering a lecture about the same temple, then they will incorporate all these personal experiences. So art appreciation in a historian's idea is entirely different. When it comes to an archaeologist or a geologist, I would like to say, where he will more focus and concentrate on the granite, on the brick and mortar, on various methods of the engineering skills, whatever I have mentioned earlier, the engineering skills where they have employed in constructing this huge, wonder, this huge marvelous thing. So if it is a sculpture, of course they'll go with the details, how it is ornamented and what is the philosophy and all. Most probably the archaeologists and geologists, maybe if they are into the philosophy or spirituality, and their soul is blessed with all these things imbibed already, then they'll definitely appreciate art in that perception, like in that way. But when a philosopher or a person related to literature and performing arts like dance and music visits the temple, art appreciation is, it gets a broader stage. Art appreciation, we have panels of people dancing on the walls of the temple, like dancing sculptures and all, musicians and people singing. We even have some sculptures of Gita Goshti and dance competitions and all in the on the South Indian temple walls, if I can particularly talk about. So then we have this what you call it as, we have this art appreciation on a very large scale, because they are already on the path, already on their halfway through to reach the divine through those sculptures and panels and miniature paintings and all these things in our what our ancestors have created. They are already enjoying it spiritually, and they are able to see the divinity already, so they are all halfway through. But for an engineer, for a child, it takes years of practice to understand the divinity which is welcoming you into the temple. But leaving all these things aside, when a devotee is visiting a temple, his devotion is completely based on, his devotion, his concentration, and his main aim and goal in the temple is to go see the residing deity, the main deity of the temple, and then his greatness and his miracles and all these. The local person, he knows the Sthala Purana very well, and he knows that this deity has, the god in front of me has done so many miracles, and all these things have happened in the because it is a local story which is descending from centuries and ages. So he knows everything. He knows very well about that particular temple and that particular the significance of that miracles of that deity. So the way a devotee sees a temple is completely different, and the art appreciation, their art appreciation is, again I can say, is limited, because he is seeing the religious spirituality and philosophy and all those things, and it is a daily routine for him. The international scholars, when they talk about protecting the heritage monuments and involvement of the local people in the temples, they say that they don't really see the temple as a heritage monument or something, because it is their lifestyle, it is their life already. See, it is very simple. If you have your grandfather or grandmother, great personalities, there some relics or some items are with you, then it is a part of your life. But people from other areas would come to you and see, like, yes, I have heard that you have their relics and all. Please, can I look at them, and can I have can I touch them? All these things, because these are all significant and very precious to them. So people around the world will go to see a heritage monument and all, but the people who are already living there, it is their own monument. They feel like it is our own monument, and our life is intertwined with it. It is connected with it. So they'll do all these kinds of, they'll play there. Their kids are playing there, and they're trying to soak their clothes. They're trying to dry their clothes in the on the walls of the heritage monument, because these things are internationally spoken nowadays, because for the localates, for the local people. But at the end of the day, we have to protect the monument after talking to them and bringing awareness that this is a very a very significant place and all. So when a devotee looks at the temple and appreciating its art is limited, but his devotion and spirituality and philosophy, his daily philosophy is to wake up in the morning, get ready, go to the temple and pay your respects to the God, and then you start your day. That is your philosophy. That is your everyday routine, that you are doing it. You are doing it on a very blissful, and you are blessed for the day. You are ready to do miracles. You are ready to go through the hardships that are coming through your way. So that was their philosophy of starting a day. So by this, I wanted to tell you art appreciation. Art is different in everybody's level, everybody's personal level and regional and national level, international level. But at the same time, the local peoples and your own idea, your own definition of art is matters. That is what the most important thing here. And then when we talk about art archaeology or any art forms like this, people will, the scholars start talking about the Indus Valley civilization and all the other, areas where nature worship and mother goddess worships are, involved. But for me, when you talk about the Indus Valley civilization and all, yes, they do have lots of spiritual and philosophical significant suggestions I can say, since the script is not deciphered yet. So we are not in a stage to say that yes, they used to do the religious rituals and ceremonies and all. But we have from the evidences what we can see, the terracotta seals. Again, the art is diversified. They have terracotta seals, they have street-type figurines, and they have structures. They have great bath at Mohenjo-daro and great granaries and beautiful buildings, and they have their places for industries. All these things are there. So every place we have some evidences of art infused with spiritual significance. We have fire altars. See, there is a difference between the fire altar and the industrial furnace. Okay, so fire altars are there, and then the intricate carvings of the deities, animals and symbols, they suggest a belief of a system centered around the nature and the divine. So they worship the nature, people tree, banyan tree, all these trees are there, and then we have the Pashupati seal where a person sitting, suggest possibly Shiva is Pashupati. Pashupati itself is the lord of the animals and all, and he is sitting on a throne like high stage, and then he's with half closed eyes. Actually, John Marshall has observed these half closed eyes, what we call it as in meditating language, it is Ardon Milit Netra. then these were identified by John Marshall in the terracotta figurine, whereas Indian scholars identified the same ardhonmilita netra in the street-eyed figure of the priestly statue, what we call it as. It is considered to be a religious person because of its representation with ardhonmilita netra. So here, and the way he had his robe, over his shoulders also says that he got the ardhonmilita netra. That means he is in the state of meditating, and the karuna rasa, it is the karuna rasa and the peacefulness in his face, and these things also suggest that there is a philosophical and spiritual feeling in those people. So when we start talking about it, people say that the seeds of spirituality started during the Vedic period and during the Indus Valley period. I don't believe that the seeds and all started during the period. I can't justify that, but I really feel that there are these rituals, rituals that suggest spiritual and philosophical evidences that existence in that particular period, because they used to practice even their burial practices, fire altars and the great bath, which is suggesting again a very great religious gathering. They taking because each and every house in the Indus Valley period have personal well. At the same time, you have one at the end of the streets, one private well is also there where everybody can use the water. But what is the purpose of this great bath again? So this is because they are performing something. They are gathering at a place, at a particular place to perform some kind of rituals or something. So maybe for rejuvenation or for recreation purposes, but it is there to this suggests a spiritual and a philosophical suggestion, like existence during this time, during the Indus Valley period time. Then comes the spirituality in the Vedas. Here, if I have to talk about the Vedas and the spirituality and art that is taking people to the path of the divine, then I don't think 1 hour or 1.5 hours would suffice. Like we have lots to discuss. We have lots of phrases. We forget the slokas and entire volumes and all. But if you take the phrases here, it will take you have to listen to me for a very long time. So here, the Vedic period, it marks the dawn of philosophical thought in India. The hymns and rituals of the Vedas laid the foundation for Hinduism and profoundly influenced subsequent artistic developments. So how it influenced and what was its role in bringing out the concept of a cosmic order and the interconnectedness of all these things and the search of ultimate reality are the themes that resonate through Indian art. So this is what is available in the literature is sculpted, is built, is painted and is carved. So we have to go through the early forms, so that this literary text, whatever we have this period during this period saw the development of early forms of music. I don't dare to say that early forms, because during those times we have lots of volumes based on Sangeeta and Natya. So the forms of music, poetry and oral tradition that would later find expression in visual arts. So these Vedic elements, Vedic literary texts are transformed into the artistic elements based on these literary texts, what I can say that. So here I just wanted to say you a few phrases. Particularly I'll start with this sloka from Isavasya Upanishad, the first and the foremost. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. So this is the one sloka, one verse, where hundreds and thousands of scholars can write commentaries about. Whenever I say something to my fellow scholars or in the seminars and the other places, this says, in India, what we are learning in India is Purnam. It's complete. It's not incomplete. Whatever we are learning in India is complete. This is complete and that is complete. So here you can apply any subject. You take any subject that is complete. And here one of my gurus, he like, I have been through these commentaries about on Ishavasya Upanishad, and what I have found there is, I have this example from a philosophical person, of course. He says that just take a deepam or a candle, and this is already bright, this is already bright enough, and when you have 10 more candles in front of you or 10 more diyas in front of you, even after lighting all these diyas with this particular candle or the particular diya, this diya is not at all it's not giving you less brightness than the earlier brightness. So what this says is, after igniting all the other ideas or all the other diyas here in this instance, it shines more, shines brighter and brighter with the unity of all the other diyas. So what we are doing is the same now. India to the world, other countries in the world, has given a lot of things, like we gave yoga, we gave Ayurveda, we gave dhyana, and we gave many things, literary texts, we gave Buddhist and Jaina doctrines to the world. And now it is the time, I don't say this word, it is the time, but we are already shining above all the other countries as a Vishwaguru, because we gave them all these things, and they are also shining with the same brightness we have given them. At the same time, whenever they quote about our Indian literature, and when they quote about Buddhism, or when they quote about yoga, when they talk about Ayurveda, we are already shining parallelly with that particular country. So this is what India has done all these centuries and all these years. So we are already the Vishwaguru. So it is not that we have to say that India is trying to become the Vishwaguru. No, we are not trying to become the Vishwagurus. We are already Vishwagurus now. So here, okay, if I have to explain this sloka for a very long time, and I will tell you some phrases which a student also can understand very easily, that the phrase called Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Take this phrase. If you practice this phrase every day, that's all. You are all the way on the way to the divinity. You're already talking to the God now. If you are understanding this phrase particularly properly, then it is that you are talking to the God already. You're on the way to divinity. After practicing it for a few more years and few more days, you will definitely reach him or her, the divinity or the spirituality or the philosophy of Indian land. So take Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu. Yeah, we have this phrases on which we can teach our children or our students, that just try to understand this single phrase. It says, do not harm anybody. At this instant, like I got this in mind, there is a sloka which says, Tena tyaktena bhunjida magruda kasyasvidhanam. Even now I am suffering. It is a very simple thing. You don't accept anything from anybody. Just whatever you have, be content. Like, you show your contentment with that and be satisfied. You be grateful for what you have, acquired, what you have already got with you. But we are greedy. We need more and more. If you are already famous, you want to be more famous. And if you are already, financially healthy, you want to be more secure for few more years and few more centuries. That is okay. But this particular sentence says that you're not supposed to tena tyaktena bhunjida magrida kasyasvid dhanam. Dhanam here is, I interpret as this as the advices, the philosophical things or the spiritual things, or you do not have to take it from anybody. You just have to observe it. If you take your opinion matters. If you take others' opinions, you will be influenced with their opinions. If a spiritual person is teaching you, you will be more into the spirituality. If a philosophical person is teaching you, more into philosophy. Archaeologist, historian, and if you're luckily you have a very great stage and people communication with all the people, then what happens at the end is you are nothing but the dumping yard of all the thoughts. So everybody is dumping their thoughts. It is not dumping, it is they are sharing their thoughts to you. But the thing is that at the end of the day, you are the one who is going to present, and you are the one who is going to interpret it in your own way. So there your technical, scientific and philosophical, spiritual and art related ideas will come out. So that is what Magrada Kasyasvid Dhanam. It is not only wealth, that our ancestors were talking about. It is about their ideas. You just observe the idea, follow the idea. It is not that owning it. Owning somebody's idea is plagiarism now. So we are not supposed to do that. So our ancestors spoke about plagiarism, centuries ago. So we are not supposed to do that. And at the same time, while going through Bhavani Bharati written in Sanskrit by Sri Aurobindo, I have observed this. There is one phrase which is very beautiful. This says that Sarvarya Bhumir Jagatopi Kasi. I'll repeat this. Sarvarya Bhumir Jagatopi Kasi. In a verse where it is Bhavani Bharati is particularly a Sanskrit poem that kavita that talks about that tries to bring out the nationalism and liberation movement, which is composed between 1904 to 1908. So lots of liberation movement thoughts and nationalism. These things are seen in that work, in a very beautiful manner. In the verse 97, he says that Sivasya Kasyam Nivasanti Eke Mukta Sivasparsena Bhavanti Devyaha Padarpanena Iva Tu Pavanena Sarvarya Bhumir Jagatopi Kasi. He says that, just imagine 120 years ago, Sri Aurobindo, he says that he saw India being liberal. It's an independent country now. But in 1904, you please remember. So 1947, the liberation movement and all are in the peak stages, and he envisioned that India is free already. And he's not talking about the liberation or nationalism here. He says that as Kasi is famous because it is the place of Lord Shiva, everybody is coming to Kasi to to attain moksha and all. India, with the touch, with the purified touch of Bharatamata, with the purified touch of Bharatamata, will become the Arya country, the Sarvarya Bhumi. This Arya Bhumi will become the Kasi for entire world. It becomes the Kasi, Jagatopi Kasi. So the way now we are already evidencing it, we are witnessing it already. People from all over the world are coming to India, and one spiritual leader, one philosophical writer, he wrote like this. People are like the foreigners or anybody from the other doctrines and other philosophies. When they come to India, they go to the Indian spirituality and philosophy just like a doll made of salt. Okay, a salt doll, which is going to examine the depth of the sea. And then when they come and when they start exploring and involving into the Indian philosophy and spirituality, they'll just merge into that huge ocean. So this is what the philosophical and spiritual people say, because whoever is coming to India to examine its spirituality, to see how Indian philosophy is different from other countries' philosophies and all, so they feel and they witness that this is entirely different. This philosophy, this spirituality, these art forms are entirely different. So now when I said this is Purnam and that is Purnam, this is complete and that is complete, Purnamidam and Purnamadam, what exactly is that? Our educational, education in our ancient days in the Gurukulas was done in a complete manner. It was done on the basis of Prithvi, Jala, Agni, Vayu and Akasa, the universe. They used to learn about the universe. When they used to study about Prithvi, then it is not just about India, or it is not about the continents and that division particularly. There is no confining or limitations for particular region or for particular country or continent. They used to learn about entire earth and its characteristic, its nature. They knows about the center of the earth, they knows about Patala, they knows about all these things. They studied, they did a lot of research about it. And then when they are talking about Agni, Vayu and Akasha, this is beyond our ideas, beyond our thoughts. They are talking about the entire Akasha. They are talking about the stratigraphy, topography and all the atmospheric layers above it, where we are just trying to learn all these things, because Indra, Varuna and all, they used to do the goddesses fightings were on the amidst the thunderstorms and all. So that easily it is on a very high atmospheric layer. So they used to study the universe, they used to understand the universe in various, in a very larger perspective. But the thing is that they used to apply the same tatwas, the same Pancha tatwas to our body also. So this is the personal level. So how these Pancha tattvas are given to your body are Agni is to the eyes, Vayu is to the skin, Akasa is to the ears, Prithvi is to the nose and Jal is to the tongue. So again, they have this particular theme. This is the theme in all the subjects. You can see this theme in all the subjects of, art forms also. I'll tell you: Ayurveda, Hastamudras, Vastu, and spirituality. How come this, came into Vastu? In Vastu, Agni is to south directions, Vayu is to west, Akasa is to east, and Prithvi for the center, Jal is for the northern direction. So that they are very clear about, the personal level, the levels of the theme, where it can be incorporated, where it can be involved, and where we can use that particular theme, and what, even in the medicine, even in Ayurveda, and there's a, bodies stature, and vata, pitta, and all these things, where they study about a person's health. These things are very much important. So it is not that these things are suddenly brought out and suddenly overnight somebody wrote about these things in a scientific manner. No. Our study and our volumes were complete. And only thing we have done is we are confining our knowledge. So Chaturvedi, Trivedi, Dvivedi, and we are confining our knowledge so that the entire volume, we are just studying the abstract of it. If I have to tell you in this modern terminology, we are not reading the article also, we are just going through the, we are not reading the chapter also, we are going through the abstract of it, which is 300 to 500 words, so that we are unable to understand. In order to understand our literary text and all, you have to understand it in a complete manner, and you have to start reading it. Do not take a particular, paragraph or a particular commentary on anything, just try to read the original text, and then we'll come back to the Indian art and architecture, to reach the path divine. And then now I have to talk about Buddhism and Jainism very briefly, where this path, a human reaching the divine path, is not that easy as we people think as. Like I see a sculpture and I just get an idea, wow, this is philosophically beautiful and spiritually great. No, I can't get it overnight. Even Buddha, he had been through many obstacles. He did the severe austerities, and he was in the family life. He took this ashramas, he followed all the ashramas and all. And then finally, one fine day, his wanting and craving and the desperation of knowing himself and knowing the truth of the universe brought him enlightenment. So that there is a lot of struggle. It is not that just Buddha went and sat under a tree and got enlightenment. This is not possible at all, bro. It is not possible at all. So what we have to do is, it is a daily practice. You have to understand Indian art in a spiritual way, or in a philosophical way, or in a religious way, and you have to connect the Indian art to the divine. So how you have to? Why there are beautiful sculptures? Why there are elephant sculptures, and why there are erotic sculptures on the walls of the temple? And is there a particular meaning? Why don't you try your vision of why don't you try your ideas? Maybe philosophically ye hoga, maybe spiritually ye ho sakta hai. So you can interpret, you can start writing this. And luckily we have so many people who are working on Indian art and heritage, those who are not belonging to Indian art and architecture, but still they are working very hard, and I appreciate them, and I need them to be acknowledged. Saying that no, you're not from art background and you're not from archaeology background, so you're not supposed to do. Anybody can study Indian art and Indian architecture, and I'm really grateful to those people who are doing this. So in Buddhism, coming back to the Buddhism, we have Lord Buddha. He got enlightenment only after going through many examinations, many he had to take so many sufferings and many things. Then only he could see what is the ultimate truth. What is divinity, and what is the ultimate truth? What is his purpose of life? All these things. When it comes to Jainism, I have this beautiful painting in front of you. So there is a concept called, a beautiful concept indeed. This is a beautiful concept called Shatlesya Paddhati. This is the coloring of the soul, coloring your soul. Thanks to my meeting with some Shramana tradition people, like the people into Buddhism and Jainism, particularly to the Parshvanath University in Varanasi, I came in contact with these people and got a bit of Jainism, where I have seen this painting, I have seen this thing very much what you call it as beautiful and attracting, because it is very easy to understand entire Jainism in this particular one picture. That is what the Shatlesya Paddhati in the picture you can see, that Shatlesya Paddhati, it says that it helps a human change his activities to reach the divine. So here in the picture you can see the person uprooting the tree just for fruits. His soul is colored in black, and then the person who is cutting the tree from its from its trunk is colored in blue, and then somebody cuts a branch of a tree, he is given in some other dark color, and the person who is getting he is just taking a bunch of fruits is given yellow color, and a person just standing on a tree, he already climbed the tree, and then he is taking a ripened fruit from the tree, he is given a pinkish soul color, whereas the person without harming the tree and without climbing the tree and without just cutting out the tree, he is just taking a fruit which is ripened and already already on the floor, is given very bright color and light color, light soul color. So it gives, in my opinion, if you inculcate in this your education system, even children will learn to lead a very beautiful life. If you say to the students that, see, if you are doing this, you will be given a black mark. If you are doing this, you will be given blue mark, and until you get the white mark, you have to change your attitude, you have to change your behavior, you have to come to your senses. Then if you incorporate this into your educational system, academic syllabuses and all, then it gives that philosophical and spiritual involvement in the kids also, what Indian philosophy is, what Indian education is. So I feel like this single painting is what Jainism is going to tell you. Actually these things are given in very great beautiful languages and scripts and all, but what I wanted to tell you is, here this painting is an art form which is trying to take a human from the to the path of divinity. It is taking the human to the path of divinity. So this is what a painting can do, this is what an art form can do. It will take you, if you observe it with all your heart and mind, and it will connect you to your soul first, then it will connect to something that is greater than your soul. First you have to connect yourself to your soul, and then how is Sri Aurobindo's Aurobindo's quotations, or his not quotations particularly, excuse me for that, his writings, he never I've been researching about his works and all for a few days now. Whatever he wrote, whenever he wrote, like wherever he wrote, irrespective of his status, he wrote, he never went out of this Indian Indian theme. When he was writing, he was giving a lecture in some college in Baroda. He says that you have to respect your seniors and take their experiences as your lessons. It is which we are already experiencing every day, which we are practicing every day. It is the Indian dharma that we have to follow our gurus and our elders, our seniors, that whatever they say, they are saying it through experience. And whenever he talks about, like he wrote about the Matru Shakti and the divinity. Even in Bhavani Bharati, I saw the Kali and Bhavani, bringing out the nationalism and the leadership qualities which are already there, but they were doing penance in the Himalayas and all. They are deeply in meditation, so that somebody from the alien land, like somebody from the other land, have come and started suppressing them. So they just wanted to. This happens even in our literature. Somebody I don't want to give you the instances, but this happened in Bhavani Bharati, that Kali and Bharat Mata are awakening through the words of Sri Aurobindo, through the verses of Sri Aurobindo, that he never went out of his Indian context, Indian theme. He spoke about Vedas, he wrote about Vedas, he wrote about Upanishads, and he wrote about temple architecture, he wrote about in his letters and all the other works, early collective works and all, he wrote about sculptures, why we are into the Western lens, and why are we unable to appreciate the art and appreciate sculpture, and also so how art as a path to the divine is related to Sri Aurobindo. When we people think of him as a person belonging to modern history, I've already quoted here, like 120 years ago, he wrote about India's liberation and India's becoming Vishwaguru. So you have to understand him as a philosopher and a yogi. He offered a profound vision of art as a means of spiritual evolution. He believed that art could be a powerful tool for awakening consciousness and connecting with the divine. He says that his internal yoga emphasizes the integration of all aspects of human existence, including art, as a path to spiritual realization. So what you have to bring out is your consciousness. What you have to bring out is your soul. Your soul is to it's an Indian soul. So you have to, even in his Bhavani Bharati, he writes, arise and awake. That is what Swami Vivekananda said, arise and awake. Everybody, whoever are talking about Indian legacy and Indian art forms and Indian literature and Indian, the greatness of our motherland, are saying that it is the time for us to arise and awake, which is contemporary to all the societies, contemporary to all the ages. Him saying that 120 years ago and me saying it in 2025 and somebody says it in 2050 or 2100 is the same. You have to bring out your internal consciousness, internal soul. So these are all the things we have to. I'll give you some of his words about the temple and sculpture and all. So here, when we come to Hindu art as a vast and diverse landscape, Hindu art, we have, as I said, we have paintings, we have sculptures, we have archaeology, architectural marvels, and we have inscriptions and all the other things. The concept of rasa, aesthetic experience, is a central theme of Hindu art, aiming to evoke emotional and spiritual responses in the onlooker, in the viewer. It is not just a temple, it is not just a sculpture, it is not just a representation, it is not just a painting. It is to bring out your internal consciousness, it is to bring out yourself, to your soul. So Sri Aurobindo says this: an Indian temple, to whatever godhead it may be built, is in its inmost reality an altar raised to the divine self, a house of the cosmic spirit, an appeal and aspiration to the infinite. Here, when you have to understand the Indian temple, why is it built, like it is, seen? Here I'll give you one personal example. Now just consider that you are building a very good house for your, not for yourself, for your parents. Then you feel that yes, you have to give them all the amenities and all the comforts, so that you will hire one great architect and you start engineer and you start constructing, and you will take into consideration their important aspects, such as their interesting themes and what are they interested in, what is their background, and what they from the conversations which between you and them. So you feel like, agar ye lagaunga to my father would be happy, and if I do this, my mother would be happy, and if I do this, my grandmother or grandfather would appreciate my efforts. So the same thing happened while constructing a building, because your Lord is residing there, your Lord, your Godhead, your the person who is representing the entire universe, the Godhead of the entire universe is residing there. So you have to, obviously you have to build a very great structure, and the kings, nobles and queens, traders, everybody competed with each other in India to build those architectural marvels once. And then again we can take this Srishti, Sthiti, Laya into the architecture, whereas they have started creating many monuments, Srishti, and then somebody comes and they gave enormous donations for the maintenance of those temples and to maintain the rituals and the ceremonies in the temple. But sometimes when one person comes for destruction, so they again started this with more enthusiasm and more enhancement and more scientific techniques and engineering skills, that next time somebody comes, they are not supposed to break this building. So what has what had happened in the previous thing, they are supposed to come out of that. So these things, if you are not connected to the divinity, if you are not thinking that you are going to build the house for the divine personality, then you can't just build it, because nowadays engineers are not bothered about the houses. It is not for all the engineers, excuse me, and it is sometimes the quality is lacking in some areas because of the cracks within 2 to 3 years. You have to accept this. So I'm not particularly aiming on them, but the construction that took place years ago and the constructions that are taking place these days, still we have very beautiful and great buildings amongst us. Still people are building 100 floor, 48, 50, 60, 100 bedrooms and all these things. Very great skills indeed. So the Garbhagriha, the Shikhara and the symbolic significances, of these places were the combination of Vastu Shastra, and then the cosmic the temples are the places of cosmology, cosmic rays, and they have the cosmic symbolism in them. So all these things were known to our ancestors. That was the reason why they have come up with the idea of they came up with the idea of making these buildings and making these huge structures for God alone, for one deity is concerned, and the subsidiary deities, and again you have some adornments like sculptures, and you can't keep a temple empty because you're decorating your house with lots of beautiful things, and how can you leave a temple empty? You have to fill the temple with a beautiful and adorning sculptures, inscriptions are to record, and many things ahead, because some other king came, and some other dynasty in the next century and next thing, he says that okay, already the temple is huge and I want to build the prakaras, I want to build a gopura, I want to build one rangamandapa, I want to build one bhogamandapa, because they are contributing to their spiritual self, they are contributing to the consciousness, they are contributing to the spirituality of the entire world, not in the region's perception, not in the region's contentment. They are looking in a broader way. That is why they are the kings. That is why, though our kings also destructed some of the monuments made by people, but they have learned from that. They have made mistake, they made mistakes and they have learned from those mistakes. And then it is what our Indian philosophy is. Indian philosophy is not asking you to be a very great person from the birth, but it asks you to make some making mistakes is allowed, and you have to learn from those mistakes, and you are not supposed to repeat those mistakes again. And even Ashoka, after the Kalinga war, he comes back to his reality, like, array, what I have done is a blunder. I shouldn't be killing my fellow people. They are also a part of this land and I am killing them. So he came back to Buddhism, and he thought that yes, what I have done is wrong, and he publicly accepted that mistake. Whereas nowadays we can't do that. So not many can do that. So this is what our Indian spirituality and Indian consciousness is, telling that the mother and sriaurobindo, Swami Vivekananda, everybody, whoever are talking about spirituality, they are not asking you to not to make any mistakes. They are asking you to make some mistakes and bring it out. Make some changes to it, make some alterations. It is not possible overnight, but you can practice it. You can practice it and achieve, divinity. That is the way to divinity. So when it comes to the temples, as I said, we have to decorate the temples with beautiful sculptures and beautiful things. Again, these things are related to the theme of the temple particularly. So about the theme, again I will come back to the Vedas, where I said the studies in our Indian context are completely sampurna. It's not incomplete and asampurna. Here we have the Pancha bhuta sthalams in India, which are for that particular, which help the sages to get bhuta siddhi. Bhuta siddhi, according to yoga, is the aim of sadhana to have mastery over oneself. The process of gaining mastery over these elements and purifying them by practicing this in various temples that are dedicated for this purpose. Like we have Bhumilingam in Kanchipuram, Varunalingam in Tiruchi, and Agnilingam in Tiruvannamalai, Vayulingam in Srikalahasti, and Akashalingam in Chidambaram. We have 4 in Tamil Nadu and 1 in Andhra Pradesh. So all these Panchabhuta sthalams are famous, are dedicated for these Pancha tatwas, where the yoga sadhakas, the sages and the people used to visit these places, and they used to do this, they used to practice their sadhana there to attain bhuta siddhi. Bhuta shuddhi. This is bhuta shuddhi actually. And finally they attain bhuta siddhi. So here the main thing is that unfortunately today all the countries are writing about cultural heritage and heritage tourism, heritage travel and cultural travel, all these things. But why India has started writing about it these days, but it is in our tradition, in our spirituality, in our philosophy, in our daily life, because taking tirtha yatras in particular ashrama, in the sannyas ashrama, or going to the in the grihastha ashrama also, people visit the temples for the same purpose, to appreciate the art and to appreciate to reach the divine path. Through tourism they are reaching divine. They do the tirtha yatras. We have so many inscriptions of people, the Gaya inscription of Sri Krishna Devaraya, विजयनगरा डायनास्टी से लेकर के काशी में उनका एक गया इंस्क्रिप्शन है. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि पीपल आर ट्रैवलिंग thousands of kilometers in those days to offer respects to their ancestors and God, Vishwanatha or anything. Similarly, people from North India are coming to Rameshwaram and Madurai temple and offering their respects, and they are to Sri Sailam. So many temple regions are there in South India also. So this is one country. You're not supposed to see that, yeah, if I do that then our Tirthayatra will be complete and all. But now see what's happening in Mahakumbh. People all across the world are coming to looking at the Indian travel. This is what heritage tourism is. But it is there 1,000 years ago and it will be there 1,000 years after. But why are we trying to talk about it as if we are innovating something new? This is already there in Indian literature and in Indian art forms and all. So now, see, it is like the art forms. When I am talking about the art forms particularly, I just wanted to bring out this connection, interconnectedness between the Pancha tatwas, as I said, art, architecture, sculpture, philosophy and spirituality, all these Pancha tattvas, as I said. So now coming to the paintings and sculpture, how one person can understand what is this, how can not the gods and goddesses this thing, because the underlying theme in everybody visiting the temple is ultimate divinity, divine God. We are going to see the divine God, and somebody for the art and somebody for another experience, but ultimately 90% of the people going to the temple is for to witness the divinity and his presence in the temple. So sculptures, how the sculptures are giving you are acting as a bridge between the human and the divine, is that the sculpture in front of you, it is from UNESCO Ramappa temple, Warangal. It is a very beautiful sculpture. For me, you see, until and unless I went to that area and I saw that sculpture, somebody explained me about its significance. It is just a sculpture to me. But see how we can see this sculpture here. This is actual theme of the sculpture here. So here the lady in the sculpture is in the middle of her performance. When the performance is taking place, the kantahara, the hara of her lady is broken and it is about to fall down. So it is her duty, because she is performing in the temple, in the presence of God, in the temple, in the presence of her patron, king and traders and all the people, the people who are there to, for her performance. And then she is not supposed to, and she is dedicated not to determined not to stop her act. So she has immediately changed her dance steps and she is trying to hold the kantahara with these two fingers, and she is continuing to act with the same expressions on her face. It is not that these days if something on the screen, the studios, where people know that if a mistake is taking part, you can record it again or redo it, but still people are worried and people are getting heart attacks in the middle of the performances, and these things are happening. So that lady who is performing there has changed the steps there and then, and immediately she, without stopping the performance, she continued her act. This is what I wanted to tell you, that the sculptures in India are teaching you many things. They are not just this is not just the ornamentation, this is not just the abundance you have to observe. This is that what the sculpture is actually trying to tell you. So here it is not mere representation of a lady that who is dancing. It is the embodiment of divine qualities and energies. Until and unless her soul is connected to the greater one, she can't get that feeling. She can do this. She can simply stop the act and call somebody else and say that yes, it's a mistake, I'm sorry. So they are not supposed to do that. Even our forefathers, even ancestors, they were like that. They were never lazy with their works and with their responsibilities. So they fulfilled all these ashrama dharmas. They have done these things. So what this sculpture teaches us is, whatever your situation is, this sculpture serves as a powerful reminder of the divine person, and it inspires devotion. By doing your performance, it is not that she is not asking you to read anything there. She is just doing her dharma without stopping it. You have to do your dharma without stopping it. That is what it is, the ultimate path where you have to reach the God, reach your divine personality, whoever it is, greater personality, greater soul and all. So now we have this beautiful sculpture in front of us. Many of you, by seeing this, you are sure that it is from the Hoysala temple, and this is from the Hoysala temple. And I tell you, when you see this sculpture, first thing you observe is the ornamentation, and the second thing is that she is aiming on its prey, that she is about to shoot an arrow. Here I suddenly got this thought of dharma, artha, kama, mokshas in this sculpture. It is not that I am planning to incorporate the Indian philosophy or spirituality forcefully into this sculpture, but when I saw this, I started thinking why this lady is working hard. I'll tell you the dharma, the kama, mokshas of this sculpture as I understand. Just you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can also give your own interpretation. But here the lady, the dharma of that lady, dharma I am taking it as her profession, whereas she's a huntress. And then whenever she goes out, she has to bring something back home so that to feed her family, to feed her dependents and all. And then the dharma here is the profession and the work she is doing, and I want her to continue, like she wanted to continue her work for a very long time, and it is her daily routine. She will do that every day. That is her dharma. And then ardha, what is the meaning of it? What is the ardha of her doing the work? Artha, again, I'm not taking artha here. I'm taking the ardha. What is the actual meaning of it? What is the actual purpose of her doing this every day? Because she can't sit idle at home. Being a girl, she can't wait for her husband to bring something home, and of course that happens at times, but it is that she wanted very badly to contribute to the society, very badly to contribute to herself. Her soul is connected to the soul, so she is into the dharma because she has seen her father, mother and everybody involved in hunting and all these things. So she also got interest, it is there in her consciousness. So she goes to the forest every day, in spite of all these poisonous insects and the threats from the wild animals and all. So all these things, despite of these things, she is ready to go to the hunting every day. That is the ardha of it. So she is ready to face whatever the life is throwing at you. So she is ready to face the wild animals. She is ready to face the insects, poisonous, venomous insects and all from the jungle. And what is the karma of it? What is the karma here? Karma is the desire. Why is she doing all these things? As I said, she has the choice of sitting home and eating all those things which her husband is bringing her. But why is she doing all these adventures in the middle of the jungle? So here the karma purpose is, the desire is to get acknowledged. By whom? From the greater personality. When you go up, when you go there, you are supposed to answer somebody. It is not that somebody sitting on a table, there will be a chair and this thing, and somebody will ask, yeah, tell me now, what have you done this day, what have you done that day? But there is a responsibility, spiritual and philosophical responsibility to your motherland, that you are doing something. So the same, I saw that in this sculpture. So she is doing it regularly to get acknowledged. Just to tell you about this, the king's antahpura, the king's palace, has like everybody used to give their taxes and pay to the king. Similarly, the people belonging to different professions used to give their share to the palace. So how is a hunter and huntress related to that? Every day there are hundreds and at least tens of items prepared in the tens and hundreds of items prepared in the royal kitchen. So they are supposed to contribute, like they are supposed to give their fresh hunted items made by an envelope and all to decorate the entire royal palace. They are supposed to give some items which are like skin or teeth or any other items for making perfumes and all. There is one particular department to make perfumes and all in the king's office. So for daily use. So these things are from the hunters and huntresses. So that way she is getting the karma aspect fulfilled. So what is moksha finally? So this is very simple. She has been doing this for her entire life, and she'll continue. Now she has already continued and done. So now this dharma, artha, kama, moksha aspects of this sculpture will tell you what you have to. She is a simple huntress. Without hunting, she can't. It is her livelihood. She can't live. She has to go for hunting. That is her duty. Now we are also going for our job and for our duty, for our college or university or our workplace. To do our dharma, we are doing it very well. We are doing it, and we will do it in future also. And then what is the ardha of it? Ardha of it is to, ardha and kama, to get acknowledged and contribute yourself. If you have nothing to your name, you ultimately are supposed to answer the divine personality. So in order to walk through the path of divinity, you have to follow some things, because Lord Buddha followed this path. The ascetics and the yoga, the yogis, the sages, everybody, Sri Aurobindo and the mother, everybody, whoever are in the spiritual way, started, they took the hard way. It is the hardest way. One Guruji told me that walking in the Adhyatmika Pada is like walking on the way which is filled with mud, wearing white clothes. So, however, efforts, like your efforts doesn't matter. It is ultimate thing that you have to reach the goal. The Adhyatmika Pada or path of divinity is not that easy that anybody can sit somewhere and say something and why do we have to follow? They followed it for years, and they have this. For this sculpture, it is sculpted 1,000 years ago, and we are now studying. She is the guest of the honor today. So that huntress and the dancer are the guest of the honors today. So why are they invited into our lecture? Because this is what happened in India. Everybody, every profession, every personality were in the quest of something that is, every human spirit was searching for something that is greater than themselves, greater than everything, not only themselves, their parents, their gurus, and they always believed that there is something beyond this, there is something beyond this, after this, beyond this. So they started practicing, and they ultimately reached the goal, and they attained, they saw the divinity without much this thing. So whomever I have about the Indus Valley civilization, about the Vedas, about the literary texts, and about the sculptures and all the inspirational art forms of India, given by different sculptors, epigraphists and engravers, and architects and sthapatis, and many people involved in this. It is not a single person's contribution to the universe. It is like our entire universe has contributed towards a better universe. Okay, so that is what I wanted to say in a conclusion, that how art becomes the bridge between the human and the divine. You have to understand each and every aspect of why it is made and how it is made. Why that spirituality is, we are not bringing spirituality into Indian temples. It is already existing. It is already there. So we are just talking about it. We are just bringing out some aspects such as the philosophical aspect, architectural aspect, iconographical aspect, and epigraphical records, and paintings, the Lepakshi paintings and Ajanta murals and all these things. Because when people forget about our heritage, when people forget about what our ancestors gave a great responsibility of conserving and preserving our heritage, when you are not said about this, when you are not aware of these things, so how can you preserve? You don't know what to preserve and you don't know what to conserve. Say somebody gave me some manuscripts and say these are the manuscripts written in Grantha and these are in some other language, you have to learn. Until and unless I don't know what is written in there, my first responsibility is to preserve it, but I should know the conservation methods. I should know to read Grantha. I should know to understand what a manuscript is. So these things are involved. So if the Indian heritage which is given to us from our ancestors, if you are unable to understand our Indian heritage, then how can you protect it and how can you propagate it? There is no point of just writing and one Insta note and one FB note and posting it and with the picture. No, you have to understand it in certain way. Even then, people are doing very great job in those modern media, that they are trying to bring out the various aspects. People are traveling around. People are going on trips, and they are doing the cultural heritage tourism and travel, so that they can bring out some aspects. So whenever they say that a mysterious temple, and whenever they say something like that adventurous thing, then I feel like, how come it has become mysterious when it is already existing and many people involved in constructing it? But still, because of them, many people are visiting it. Yeah, because of them, because of the persons who are writing about it in the media, widespreading about the media. And when it comes to the personality like Sri Aurobindo, when even somebody going through their writings, they feel like, yeah, there is a place, this Indian art and Indian sculpture, yeah, let us see this temple. So in this way they are bringing out the consciousness in our mind, heart and soul. So I think this is about the theme of this month. Theme of this month, this is the theme of this series, that art as the bridge between the human and divine. I hope you understand, and I want you to interpret art in your own personal way. It's not that somebody should would come and say they can explain you the characteristic features of art, but not art appreciation should come from within. You have to feel it and you have to express it. You have to appreciate art in whichever way you like. If you're liking the ornaments, you're liking the philosophy, you're liking the spirituality, you're liking the architectural features and the sculptural details in the sculptures and epigraphical records, it is your own will and wish. But it is not that. Art temples, art forms have everything and for everyone. Whatever maybe if you're an administrator, you can understand art in your field, how they managed that huge temples in those days. Okay, those days, how their records, their very beautiful records, epigraphical records and kaditas, they have written on man-made papers, the kaditas, the matas, the educational institutions and religious institutions. Art gives you lots of things. So I want you people to see art in your own personal view, personal vision, and understand what Indian art is, and spread the greatness of Indian art. And thanks for listening to me. And I want your support here in spreading the greatness of Indian art and architecture. Thanks a lot.